Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman, the DC Camp Branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah Kwadash. Check my sound here. Alright, there we go. Good to go there. So once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways, week in, week out, and also upload numerous videos. All right, to the airwaves to further help push the truth out across four corners of the earth. Because we're in that time now. Playtime's been over, actually. These prophecies only few remaining. The number one being the MOTB, and of course we see that being pushed already. All right, yeah, it's coming down to the wire here. But first, let's get this copyright disclaimer out of the way. It says under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Fair use, fair use. All right. So, what's going on with these Edomites on the right? Left too. Don't be fooled, because they're all in it together. All right. And more Jakes are realizing that. How many senators on the left voted for this Charlie Cook Day? What the fuck is up with this? Well, the thing is, I do believe, as do some others, that they're doing all this to try to push Jake's buttons. They want Jake out there acting a fool in the streets because they got something planned for Jake. And since Jake didn't do what they expected them to do with these Northern Kingdom, the thing with ICE raids and all that, and they thought a bunch of Jake was going to get out there and, be cannon fodder. It didn't work out that way. So now we got to get these niggers out here on the street. What's wrong? What's going on? That's another thing. All right. Also with the Democrats, they're in shambles now. Their little plot to allow all the illegal Northern Kingdom to get in here, and therefore them having a whole new voting bloc, that failed miserably. All right, because Jake has caught on, all right, to the Democrats' bullshit. All right, they've been playing us for a fool, like a hoe, for the last 60 years. Jake has said enough, and they can't deal with it because, like I said, both of these parties are working together. This is all, at the end of the day, about maintaining white supremacy, so-called white supremacy. It's Edomite supremacy. All right, that's all it's ever been about. They just come at you in a different way. It's what Malcolm X referred to when he said about the wolf and the fox. They just have a different approach as to how to do it. All right, but in any case, that's where Psalm 64 chapter, all right, where the prayer about not falling, well, let's just get it. Because with all this piece of shit who they've deified now, talking about Charlie Kirk, CK, from now I'll just refer to him as that now because of the algorithms. Blatant lies. He went to these campuses and just told outright lies. And of course they're going to censor the times that he got his ass handed to him in these debates, of course, because that was the whole thing. Let's go right here real quick. This is Psalm 64. It says, hide me from the wicked. And this is who we're dealing with, all right? I started 2. Actually, I started 1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O Most High, in my prayer, all right? Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. King David was not only king, but he was also a prophet, all right? It says, 2, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. This is who we're dealing with. And before I finish this out, let's take a pause and go to these videos here, because they got a whole day, just happened to be coincidental to line up with George Floyd's birthday. Okay. Like I say, don't get stupid out here with this bullshit. Like I said, they're trying to push your buttons. All right. Let's go ahead and relive. I mean, this guy. What was he at the end of the day? What the fuck? And they're elevating this guy to demigodhood. You know.
What is Charlie Kirk Day? Here's everything you need to know.
As we mourn this massive loss, let us gather together in our communities and pray for his family and our nation. And let us honor Charlie by believing in the power of our ideas to win the day and leave this nation a better place. I'm proud to have the support of more than 20 of my colleagues to honor Charlie by dedicating his birthday, October 14, 2025, as National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk.
After Senator Rick Scott called for the passage of a resolution to create a National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk on October 14, 2025, the Senate unanimously consented and passed the resolution.
Just putting this out there, this is just me personally, but are you so fucking pitiful and sorry that you had to actually, and bear with me here, because I'm trying to say it without saying it. I'll say it this way, that this guy have to die, however it happened, for you to have some kind of symbol, some kind of something to compare to MLK or Malcolm X or even a George Floyd, to try to rally your, these it don't take much for these Edomites in their youth to get stupid. I'll put it like that. All right, and now you got this. So what happened? They went to an HBCU to try to pull the same shit, and they got run off. I hope you all saw that. I forget where it was now. To try to set up shop like he was doing and start debating, and they ran their asses off. But let's just go with that. They like to, debate, and this guy just flat out lied, and knew he was lying. All right, it's not like he did it and wholeheartedly believed what he was saying to be true. No, he knew it was just to stir up controversy. All right, so he came out with these stats about us, again, using the percentage scheme. All right, 38% of this, and we're 13% of this, and we commit 58%. It's all bullshit. Not taking into account what he was talking about, the crime stats. He was talking about arrests, not convictions. And how many of those got acquitted or later, cases dismissed or were let loose because of prosecutorial misconduct, shit like that. He never took that into account because he did it on purpose. So let's use his own. Let's just use this against him. So I've been in the last few videos. This same guy in one of my last videos, he put out the actual stats. All you have to do is look. They used that 2019 FBI crime stat, and he still twisted it. So let's just turn it on them. Turn it back on them. Here we go. This is from Medium Man. All right. It says, what if we use FBI crime stats against Edomite/white men? But we're going to tell the truth. We're going to be factual about it. So here we go.
Whenever people throw out that tired line, black people are 13% of the population but commit 50% of the deletions, they're not telling the truth. They're repeating a hashtag they probably heard from some podcast or talking head. But here's the problem. The FBI's 2019 report they love to quote isn't about convictions. It's about arrest. And an arrest does not mean guilt. But in conservative talking points, those arrests are treated as if every single one equals a conviction. That's dishonest. It's also weaponized and is used to smear black men and paint an entire community as dangerous. So let's flip it. Let's use the same 2019 FBI arrest data, but let's apply it to white men. Let's see how the numbers sound when the shoe is on the other foot. In 2019, here's what the FBI's own arrest tables show. 69.8% of grape arrests were white. Almost 7 out of every 10 people arrested for grape were white. 65.8% of arrests for offenses against family and children were white. That means the majority of arrests in categories that involve harming your own family, neglecting your children, or endangering your household came from white people. 61.8% of aggravated assault arrests were white. The majority of violent attacks that get classified as aggravated assault weren't committed by black people. They were white. 59.1% of all violent crime arrests overall were white. And even prostitution and commercial vice, 50.9% of arrests were white. Now, if I use your same logic, the logic people apply to black men when they scream 50% of deletions, I could say, should women and children in America be afraid of white men? Should we warn our daughters that the biggest threat is white men since they dominate arrests in categories like rape, SA, and family offenses? That sounds extreme, doesn't it? It sounds offensive. It sounds like I'm trying to smear every white man in the country. And that's because I would be. But that's exactly what people do when they take these FBI arrest stats, strip away the context, and weaponize them against black men. Because here's the truth. An arrest is not a conviction. Almost half of all deletions go unsolved every single year. And those arrests, they don't account for policing bias or where law enforcement chooses to focus resources. And most violence is intra-racial. That means white people overwhelmingly harm white victims, and black people overwhelmingly harm black victims. So when you pretend that arrests are the same thing as guilty verdicts, you're not just twisting the numbers, you're creating stereotypes. And those stereotypes have consequences, especially for black men. Let's flip that perspective to white men. Even if we took those same FBI arrest percentages where white men dominate categories like rape, SA, and family offenses, the share of the white male population arrested is still just a fraction of a fraction. Meaning over 99% of white men aged 18 to 34 are not committing those crimes. So let me ask again, should women and children really be afraid of white men? Of course not. That would be ridiculous. But it's the exact same ridiculous logic that people accept when it's used against black men. So here's the bottom line. Arrests are not convictions. Half of deletions go unsolved every year.
And that's what I've always said, years ago. I said, our people have far more reason to fear them than, the opposite. But see, they have to do this because Jake is used as a scapegoat to distract from what's actually going on. Those real quiet, heavily manicured lawn type of neighborhoods, but what's going on in those basements? Yeah, everything looks good on the outside. I mean, man. Yeah. But what's going on the inside? In the meantime, they're in there looking at TV, looking at, the news, and all you see is Jake being paraded around. You hear all the stats. That's done intentionally. That goes to Psalms 50, and let's get that real quick. And Revelation 12 and 10. Let's come back to that. This is Psalms 50. All right, and 19. Thou givest thou mouth to deceit. Thou givest thou mouth to evil. This is evil. This is an evil thing. All right. It says, and thy tongue frameth deceit. He knows what he's doing. you know, but this is the snares and traps that he sets for us. And, oh, how many scriptures it is telling it's going to come back on his head. All right. Verse 20, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thine own mother's son. And this is exactly what he's done. Oops, sorry about that. All right, let's get the other one. This is Revelation 12, all right, and 10, because it tells you this is the time, all right, and the woman and the dragon, the woman being the nation of Israel, the dragon, of course, being the nation of Edom, the so-called white man, his nation, all right. This is Revelation 12 and 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his son, Yahushua HaMashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down. This is what's shortly going to come to pass, all right, which accuse them, us, before our God day and night. All right. The accuser, let's get that accuser, that's Strong's G2725, categoros. What does it sound like? Category. This is what he likes to do. All right. This is part of his MO, his modus operandi. This is what he does, categorizes everything. You're black. You're African. These are names that he put on us. That's why we have that sign. Another reason why we have that sign, you know, according to Ezekiel 37. We have the names that he gave us, and we have the names that were given to us by the Most High, Yahweh Shemiah Shah, as far as our nations. All right. It says from G2596 and G58, we'll get those in a second, against one in the assembly that is a complainant at law, specifically Satan, accuser. But we have to bring it down to what? Human level here. We're talking about a people, all right? Again, the nation of Edom, all right? The so-called white man, that Edom there, that's red, all right? Because what? The blood shows through their translucent skin. That's how they were described, all right? So, let's go to that G2596. All right. Let's see. By any means. Over, against. All right. Opposition. And that's exactly what he is. He's the opposition. He's, you know, when you get in righteousness and wickedness, good versus evil, etc. This is what we're talking about. Something that's, he tells you that in Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. They're contraries, all right, to what's right. They can't help it. It's their nature. That's why they were created. They are the wicked. All right, let's go back to the video.
Is intra-racial. If I wanted to smear white men, I could do it with the FBI arrest percentages, and I could make it sound convincing, but it would be wrong. And if it's wrong to do it to white men, then it's just as wrong to do it to black men, because the 13% versus 50% claim isn't about truth. It's about fear. It's about control. And it's about weaponizing numbers to smear a community that deserves better, especially black men. Peace.
So there you go. So let's finish out the other video. This is this bill.
Resolution on Thursday. The date marks what would have been Kirk's 32nd birthday.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it.
And the Democrats went along with it.
The surprising unanimous
Why don't you
decision
hear them
came despite
complaining?
hesitation and debate among Democrats as to whether or not to support the resolution.
Yeah.
And as U.S. Representative Jamie Raskin pleaded with his fellow party members not to step into what he called an obvious political trap. The National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk will not be an official federal holiday, so don't expect to get the day off. But it will be used to recognize Kirk for his contributions to civic education and public service, according to the resolution. Educational institutions, civic or...
I'm not for this guy, but I mean, if you're going to play that game, and I'm not encouraging you to do so, but it'd be funny if everybody on that day just wore George Floyd. Or don't go for it at all, you know, but just to fuck with them, because that's what they're doing with us.
Organizations and everyday Americans are being encouraged to observe this day with appropriate programs, activities, prayers, and ceremonies that promote civic engagement and the principles of faith, liberty, and democracy that Charlie Kirk championed. The past resolution comes as both the Trump administration and Kirk's widow, Erica, have also vowed to continue his legacy, as seen in this emotional video put out by the White House on Thursday.
You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. And this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife.
Oh, Charlie, you didn't deserve it. May God bless your family.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
On Thursday, it was announced that Erica Kirk had been named the CEO and chairwoman of Turning Point USA, the powerhouse conservative grassroots organization that her late husband co-founded in 2012.
Which goes to show you that for all you people that believe that we've been in a post-racist society, you're an idiot. Idiots, plural. All right? It's not in these people to change. You can't change their nature. And you all are really going to find out, for those of you all that think we're crazy, we're sounding the alarm, trying to warn our people, as the scriptures command us to do. As Yahweh Shem Yahushua through the scriptures commands us to do. All right? You don't take heed, that's on you. That's, read Ezekiel 2nd and 3rd chapters. All right? But we're doing this, and in doing so, we're getting that blood off our hands. All right? We're doing what we were commanded to do. You don't want to listen? Like I said, that falls on you, because one of these interviews looks like the vice president let it slip that they're planning martial law. Yeah, been trying to tell you. So that like I say, let's go back and finish out what I was going into in Psalms 64. All right, where'd I leave off? 3? Yeah, actually 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword, meaning sharpen, W-H-E-T, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. But it's not such a secret now. All right? Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They, verse 5, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Because the thoughts of the Most High, well, the Most High is not in their thoughts. All right? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. And you better believe. All right? Even we know that these, what used to be secret councils, aren't secret anymore. But in their supreme arrogance, all right, they continue to do shit like this. And we just sitting back there, you know you're going to fail, right? You know you're going to fail. But they honestly think, as Psalms 49 says, 49:11, that they think this is going to go on forever. Yeah, we our technology is such, and they got humbled. What was it, a week before last, when they shot at that UFO, and the shit didn't even detonate, it just bounced off, and that thing kept on going like, what the hell was that? Kept going. Yeah, you thought you were the pinnacle. You thought you were the cock of the walk. You were it. No. You're getting ready to get humbled, all right, in a big way, and it's beautiful. What's that quote from Django where he where he went after those three brothers? What did they? He told them what they told him earlier. So I like to see you squirm, boy, or some shit like that. That was funny. But yeah, it's your turn now. All right. So with that, once again, I hope whoever views this video has been edified. We've been going over, the Charlie Kirk Day, and reversing the shit up on them as far as bringing out these stats. I say, arm yourself with these stats when they want to try to pull that bullshit. All right? Just tell the truth. Simple as that. You win every time. All right, so with that, once again, I have to encourage everyone to be circumspect out here, especially now, because it's only going to get worse from here on out. All right? Keep that head on a swivel. All right? Beware of your surroundings. All right, so with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.